We're live with Marley Jaxx. Marley, welcome to the show.
That's Forti. Thank you for having me on the show.
Of course. What's it like to live in Canada?
Oh, you always got to rub that in.
We got to start somewhere, and I feel
Rub
like
that.
I feel like this is a good place to start because listen, like I don't know, I can't put it on because
Oh,
I can't put it on because I've got my headphones on, but I don't know, I've never lived in like a second tier country or anything.
oh. You know
So
what? I'm gonna go to the doctor for free with how much you just hurt my feelings.
no, we love Canada. Not as much as America, but I do love you, and you're my favorite Canadian. I've said this multiple times, and I know some Canadian people. But for real though, is it like I've never been to Canada. I've been to several different countries, but not Canada. Is it like on a daily basis? Is there any like major differences than living in the U.S.? Because I know you've been here a lot.
Yeah, it's cold. I do spend half the year in the States, so I feel like I'm kind of more American lately.
Mm.
I have changed the way I spell things and the metric
Ooh.
system that I use. So I am converting. However, I will always have my Canadian roots. I often have. I did this Instagram story that you laughed at, where I was at Home Depot and I'm like trying to do the broom challenge, and I lined up all the brooms in the
Yeah, yeah.
and someone made a comment of being like, ah, you're so bundled up. And I was like, I am. This is normal. Like I was just wearing my winter jacket and my boots. It's just, yeah, it's cold here. There's a lot of snow. One of my friends in Boise was like, is there still snow there? And I was like, are you kidding? It's up to my chest.
Yeah, it's
Like
only February.
I won't see grass till May.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is here too. And maybe not quite that bad because it's we're a little bit further south than you are. But like it was like 3 weeks ago, it was negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit here, and
Yeah, that's
then
one. I have not learned that language yet. I speak in
okay,
Celsius. I
so
still have to ask Siri. Siri,
so
what is?
let's see. Let's ask Siri. Siri, what is negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius?
Minus 28.9 degrees Celsius.
So minus 28.9 degrees, minus 29 degrees, something like
Yeah,
that.
that's cold.
It's pretty cold. Yeah, it's pretty freezing. But it gets nice in the summertime there though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great. And the mountains, like,
Yeah, I want to come up there for that.
yeah, let's do that.
Oh my gosh, we should. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
What's it? Lake Moran? Is that what it's called?
There's Moraine Lake, Lake
Moraine.
Louise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to come up there. That would be super fun.
Yeah,
That would
we'll
be
do it.
super fun. We'll come. Maybe sometime this summer.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a mastermind. Or
Maybe.
something.
Oh gosh, I like this idea more and more.
Mastermind in the mountains.
That would be so cool. What like wait, so like Canada is directly above directly above America. What not geology.
Hello.
But geography,
Yeah.
not geology. Geography. But what part of Canada are you from? Like from a location on the
Alberta.
map.
Yeah, so if you're looking like north of Denver or Montana,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am north of that.
North of that. Okay. All right. So like straight up that direction.
Straight up.
Are you moving? Speaking of Denver, I might move there, but we'll get to that in a second. Are you moving anytime soon? Or are you just stay in Canada?
Well, that's when people ask like where are you from, where do you live? I'm like, well, I have a house in Canada, but I'm traveling throughout the States all the time.
Yeah.
So do I just relocate to the States? I don't know, to be determined. Really, the only thing keeping me here is my parents and my brother.
A good reason to stay, I feel like. For now.
It could also just be a good reason to visit.
Right. Well, do you have so like how do you enter America? Like how does that work with Canadians? Like
I have my visa now, so I can live in the States for 5 years.
oh
And
wow. Okay. Wow. I didn't realize it was that long.
yeah. So I have and then I just reapply every 5 years, and I don't see why they would.
And you're one of the few people that like you could literally be here and be like hashtag Trump's not my president.
Hashtag correct.
Because
Hashtag
you're actually I don't know about I'm still not supportive of the Canadian healthcare system just because I don't think it actually works. But what do I know? I'm an American I've never even been to Canada, so how can I talk? What's that?
No.
But no, seriously though. So I'm moving in July 1st. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's yet to be decided whether that's Florida or Denver area.
Right.
Denver area. It wouldn't be Denver. It would be like between Denver and Boulder. Have you ever been to Denver?
Yes.
Yeah, it's so beautiful out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're trying to decide whether we want it to be like that direction or Florida.
My guess is Florida.
Your guess is that you think that's where we're going to end up?
Yeah.
I think that's inevitably where we will inevitably end up. The thing is that weed is legal in Colorado, and Leah is really big into yoga, and also different strands of the medical side of, because she has like a lot of neck pains and a lot of like things like that. So like the CBD marijuana industry is something that she's very, very like into, and like she knows all the different strains and oils and like what they do, and like she's really, really informed in all that. And so she's going in May, I think it is. She's going in May to get, like, she's going to become certified in yoga, aerial yoga, holistic healing, like all alternative medicine, like all this stuff. And so I think Colorado may be the first stop, but Florida, I think would be inevitably.
Because I was also thinking of Leah, that I know that she can't handle the cold.
Right. Yeah. But there's a Lifetime Fitness out there, which she's big on. Do you know what Lifetime is?
24/7 gym.
Think of it as like a 24/7, absolutely everything you can possibly think of epicness. Like, it's like there's an indoor water park, there's yoga, there's spas, there's training, there's personal fitness.
Wow.
There's like huge, like 2 or 3 stories, massive, like amazing lockers. It's like almost like a resort. But like they're only in like night. Like there's one in Omaha because Omaha has money, right? One in Denver or like about that direction. So we find like something like that to where we could still function. Like, it's huge. Like you could be there all day and every single day and like still find something to do type deal. So wintertime, that would help with it. But
oh, amazing.
Yeah. So if you ever, okay, here's a question for you before we get into business here. If you came to America, where would you live?
That is the good question that I get a lot. I think it would be between Boise,
I love Boise.
LA, or Austin.
Oh, really? Why Austin? Yeah. Oh, Sharfin down there, and
yeah,
that makes sense. That makes sense. LA's expensive. Don't go to LA.
Yeah, and the traffic. Oh my God, I couldn't handle it. But Boise has my heart. I do feel like home every time I stepped into that airport, and I think the majority of my friends are there, so I would also never be lonely, and I would always have people.
Yeah, I love Boise. I don't know if I can ever live there because, I mean, like, if it was me and I lived alone and I was solo for the rest of my life and I never planned on getting married or anything like that, then I would probably end up in Boise. But, there's other things to consider there. And for me right now, it's kind of not on the radar. Natalie Hodson tried to get me to move there. She's like, come on out. And I know so many people there. Steve's there. But that'll be fun. Wherever you end up, I'm sure it'll be good. But don't go to LA. It's expensive, and it's a crazy lunatic town. If you go to California, like, go to San Diego or something. It's
okay.
I mean, check that out. I think you'd like it better. But okay, we got lots to talk about here today.
So much.
Funnel Hacking Live, your new life, your new last name, Team Jaxx. Like, that's pretty crazy.
Oh man, it's the best.
It is. It's pretty awesome. Let's start with Funnel Hacking Live. You have officially checked off a bucket list item for very many people, myself included. What's that like? Like, is it like, I feel like it's like one of those things that lives up to every expectation, right?
Yes, and it was better than I could have expected. Really? For me, I visualized that moment forever, and then when it actually happened, it was better than I could have imagined. And it's like, I wouldn't have changed a thing about it. Sometimes you have these big moments in your life or conversations where you're like, oh, I wish I could have gone back and said this.
Yeah.
There's nothing I would change about it.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I saw the picture that you took afterwards of you like kneeling down or like squatting down or whatever. And like, I think your eyes were closed, but you had your hands up like this. Yeah. Like that. Like, I feel like that perfectly summarized the moment. Like, that was powerful.
Because for me, it was, over a year of just visualizing, like, I want to speak on that stage, to then the moment it happens. And what most people don't know also is, for people who have followed me and that they know that, like, 3 weeks before Funnel Hacking Live, I announced publicly that my marriage changed, or my marriage ended. I changed my name, all of this unfolding right before I'm about to take the biggest step of my life onto this biggest stage. And the day that I was announced as a Funnel Hacking Live speaker was the day that my marriage ended.
Oh.
So here I am on Facebook. Yeah.
I almost cried when I got the Vox. I literally out loud was like, and Leah was like, what? Like, what happened? It's clearly not them. So I almost cried, but it's, I feel like it's, opens up new doors. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the moment I'm on Facebook Live with Russell and I'm like, smiling, and I'm like, this is great. And then, it closes.
How did that, how did he ask you?
Oh, I have a whole video of it. I vlogged the whole thing. So
Amazing.
I was in Denver. I was with a client, and Russell Voxed and said, hey, can you jump on Zoom for a minute? I have a question for you.
So let's just pause right there for a second. Is it like casual to get a Vox from Russell for you? Like, or is this the first time that like,
this is the first Vox I've ever gotten from Russell.
what a way to be.
Yeah.
All right. So continue.
So can we jump on Zoom? And I was like, ugh. Like, I know, I'm like, this is it.
Like,
or he's kicking me out of Inner Circle. Like, I don't know.
So you're like 70% sure that you're being asked to speak?
I think so, because at this point I had dropped hints that like I want to speak, and he knew, and he was kind of making jokes back to me. So and but I had totally written it off because I was talking to Jake Leslie, who's one of the like main funnel designers.
Yeah. Shout out Jake. He's been on the show.
Oh, I love him.
He's one of my favorite people ever.
An amazing human. And his story is so wonderful. So I was with Jake once, and I was like, when are they going to announce the speakers? Like, don't tell them. I'm not asking you to tell me, but just when is it coming?
Yeah.
And he just was like, oh, Marley, I'm sorry. Like, I was rooting for you.
Oh,
and like he's letting me down.
That devil. He does that.
But at the time I wasn't on the.
Oh. So he wasn't playing a joke on you. He literally didn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, just heartbroken, and was like, all right, it's fine. I always got next year. And so I had written it off at that point.
Wow. So then he calls and asks you, and he's just like, yo, you want to speak?
Yeah. So we're on Zoom, and I'm just freaking, and we film the whole thing. And yeah, he's like, so just, we want you to speak. What do you think? And I was like, oh.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
I was like, oh, okay, sure, whatever sure, I'll be there.
As Catherine Jones would say, you didn't play hard to get.
Oh, no. He very much knew I was all in it.
I feel like I want to know if Russell's ever been turned down by anybody except for like a Tony Robbins, right?
You know what? He really wanted Jenna Kuchar to speak at FHL.
And Jenna, what's up with that?
She's just like, she loves being with her family, and she was just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, but like, come on, Jenna. Like, fly in for one day and fly out. Bring your family. You've got the money. We love Jenna. She's super cool. I've never got to meet her, but Russell talks about her all the time. Yeah. And so you have to know who that is. Okay, random question is bothering me now. Not bothering me, but I'm curious. Are your eyebrows microbladed?
They were, but they faded, so now I just have to fill them in.
Now you fill them in. Leah just got that done. Yeah. And so now I'm like,
most men don't notice.
Aware. Yeah. More. Yeah. I'm very much aware. Like, I'm aware of how like straight the lines are right here. Yeah. And I'm like, I wonder if those are done. Is that painful?
It's a tattoo on your face.
Yeah, but like, it's not like a deep tattoo though, right?
No. And like, you can numb, like they put numbing cream to numb the space, but I was late for my appointment, so like, we don't have time to numb. And I was like, great.
Wow. Is it more or less painful than you just got a tattoo?
Yeah, I did.
Which beast, by the way. Holy cow!
I love my new tattoo. I got a lion, and
yeah, show on the for people listening on audio right now. It's on her right.
And then also in the mane, I hid the name Jaxx.
Ooh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I like tattoos. So is it more or less painful than getting a tattoo? Microblading.
I thought microblading was more painful.
Really? Yeah. But you got it on your. Go ahead.
The things we do for beauty, the tattoo on my forearm is totally fine.
Well, yeah, but that's also all muscle and like flesh there. There's no bone right there, right? Yeah. When I got my first tattoo, I had got it. It's on my side here. Yeah. And it was like, I'm skinny. Like, I got nothing down there. It's like right on bone. And he did it, and it's 3 lines. It's a bigger tattoo. Oh my gosh, it was so painful. The other tattoos didn't even come close to as painful as that one was. So. How many tattoos you got? Just the one?
4.
4? Oh, nice. Like bigger ones, or are they smaller?
I have the word virtue on my wrist, so very small. I have a little Minnie Mouse on my ankle.
Oh, that's right. You and Rachel. Right?
No, Rachel and I both have tattoos on our ribs. They're the best friend tattoos.
Got it.
And then, yeah, now the lion on my forearm.
Are you done, or maybe more?
I always think I'm done, and then something happens. So right now, sure, I think I'm done, but it feels like I get a tattoo at a major life event. So I don't know.
I like that. I think that all tattoos need to have meaning, right? I have no problem with them. You know, some people I understand the religious for those people that are religious, right? I understand why they are against it. I get it. I don't agree with it, but like I get it, right? So, but for me, I'm like, as long as the tattoo has meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that it is. I almost got a tattoo after Kyle died, but I haven't come to a place yet where I'm like, yep, this is accurately represents what I have gone through or learned since that moment yet. We're about a week, 2 weeks away from the anniversary, like the 1 year anniversary. So maybe then, think about it, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's important to have meaning to it. And when I was getting this lion tattoo, I was telling the tattoo artist the story, and I was like, "Do you just hear tattoo stories all the time?" And he's like, "No," because
really,
I was like, I feel like that would be that would be the main event of every.
Yeah, for sure.
He said that he gets a lot of people that are tattoo collectors, that they just come in and they see the pictures on the wall and they're like, "I'll get that one."
No way.
Yeah.
What?
For me, I'm like, it has to be meaningful. Like,
right, it's permanent. It's on your freaking skin for the rest of your existence.
There are tattoo collectors.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, you get like the Post Malones of the world who just,
always
like, my word, always die. like who? I feel like that's one of those life things where he's going to like wake up at 33 years old and be like, that was so dumb.
He'll wake up after a good long nap.
I feel like I'm not trying anymore. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, quick story about what's the meaning behind your lion one? I just got to know. I actually do know, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I think you know. Yeah. When I announced that my marriage ended, before that I had changed my name on social media, but I didn't tell anyone. Like everyone's like, "What's Jaxx? What is this?" Some people clearly they assumed, and they assumed correctly, my marriage ended. I changed my name.
Right.
But people were like, "What is Jaxx?" Like they've never heard that name before. For people who've known me long enough, they know that it's not my maiden name. So I shared the story of, and this video is on YouTube if anyone wants to see it. I'm sharing, well, a lot of people want to know, who is Marley Jaxx? Where did the name come from? What is this? And so I share this story that I was at my mom's house one night, and I'm like, I don't know how to move. Like, I don't know what name to go with. I don't want my maiden name because it's impossible to pronounce and spell. And I tried to come up with other names that were still meaningful. Like my grandfather's name is George. My dad's middle name is Dennis. Like I was kind of playing around with other names, but nothing felt right. And so I was like, Mom, it feels like a rebirth, and you named me when I was born, and I need you to just name me again. And I was like, I want my name to make me feel the way that this lion makes me feel. And I have this picture of this lion. It's my phone background, it's my phone case, and it's this picture that's outside of my office. And I've talked about this picture on my Instagram stories a lot, that I'm just like, oh, I love every day when I walk into my office that this lion is there to greet me and like give me power and strength. And then when my door is open, I see him right there. It's like he's protecting this space, and it feels so good. And I was like, but I can never name him because naming him takes his power away from him. And so Instagram would be like, name him Leo, name him Simba, name him whatever. And like, I'm like, no, I just can't name him.
He's just the unnamed lion.
He's just my lion. So same thing with my mom. I was like, Mom, I don't know how to name myself again. And I want my name to make me feel the way this lion makes me feel. And I'm just going to give it to you, Mom. Like whatever name you come up with, that's my name. And 30 seconds later, she says, Jaxx, Jaxx. I'm like, where did that come from? She goes, it just landed in my head. I wasn't even thinking, and it was just there. And we Googled it, and Jaxx means someone that can overcome any obstacles that life throws its way, which felt very fitting.
Well, look at that.
And that was it. And sometimes when you like make a big life change or decision, you want to go to your friends and get their opinions. I didn't want opinions because I was like, this is it.
You've got it. You're sold on it. I love that.
I told friends instead of asking. I was like, this is my name. I don't care if you don't like it. This is it.
Not even Rachel?
No, I told her. But I was like, this is it. Do you like it?
Right. Like kind of like, okay, I still want your approval, but it's staying this way regardless. Yeah. Got it. No, I feel that.
But she and Paul were like, oh my God, love it.
Yeah.
Love
I love it too, by the way. When you first told me what that was, I remember I think it was you voxed me. You voxed me and you're like, how do you change your name back on social? Because you're freaking out about that because you had to get it changed for Funnel Hacking Live.
Yeah. And I had changed it because at first I thought I was going to go with my middle name, which I'm so glad I didn't, because it just, I don't love my middle name is Lynn. And I feel like everyone's middle name is Lynn. Like your middle name is probably Lynn. Like it's just such a common Josh, Lynn, Forti. I get it.
Close enough.
Close. It's just such a common name, and it's more feminine than I wanted.
Yeah.
And then, I didn't, but I had changed my name on Facebook to Marley Lynn Baird for a bit, so that if I did just drop Baird, there would have been a transition.
Yeah, I remember that.
On Facebook every like 90 days or something. And I was like, oh, now I need to change it again. So we got in touch with Facebook. Facebook helped.
Facebook, good old Facebook. The double-edged sword of that company. All right, so Funnel Hacking Live, I do want to touch on this just a little bit more and kind of use this as a transition over to how you got to where you're at today. Because like I've known you for 3 years? Probably?
3 or 4,
3 or 4. It's been a minute. I don't remember where we first, I don't remember how we got connected, but I think the first time we met was at the viral video event, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that was 2.5 years ago, coming up on that. So I met a lot of people there for the first time. My coach, Katie Richardson, shout out Katie, met her for the first time there. That was super cool. But how did Funnel Hacking Live change your business?
Oh, well, and sometimes it's hard to pinpoint what was Funnel Hacking Live and what was just me being so open and vulnerable, which happened weeks before, which is still leading up to, and I feel like all around Funnel Hacking Live. But just my tribe is like they're so much stronger. I can't keep up with my inbox. Our sales are great and consistent, and people are just they're joining the movement. Like people want my name on their t-shirts.
Yeah, well, look at this. I'm wearing it.
They are hashtag getting Jaxx.
They're hashtag getting Jaxx. It says it on the back, guys. Hashtag get Jaxx. I, by the way, super creative with that. Like, I don't know, was that you that came up with who came up with it?
My audience.
Your tribe? I see. This is amazing. Well,
That's the best part.
I feel like you were just like, not that anybody needs validation from anybody else. However, I feel like your movement was incredibly validated when anybody's would be when you step across the stage of Funnel Hacking Live. Yeah.
That was a moment.
I bet. And a million messages and things like that. So how did you get to the 7-figure business, Marley? Because you won the 2 Comma Club Award. Congratulations. I watched you for a while. I'm going through the phase of getting there. Next level of the business. I feel like I in no way started over this year because I had the podcast, the movement, things like that. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like the supporters, the fans have been amazing. And the movement that we've been working on for the last couple of years, I mean, it's been awesome. But I mean, Kyle dying, break from everything, selling agency company, still continuing with the podcast, and then going on a world trip, and then that getting canceled 2 months early because Leah had a parasite and was going to die. Like, it's like a lot. And then I land in Omaha and I'm like, okay, here we are, right? Like, here's where it is. And I am so happy with the direction of where Think Different Theory is going. Like, so much momentum. We just got featured in Forbes. We're pitching Russell. For those of you that don't know, like, what the heck? Like, that's crazy. But I'm going through I hired Katie Richardson. I'm going through the mindset stuff. I'm going through the leveling up to become the master, the literal transformation of going from the doer, the artist, to more of the operator, and more of putting the pieces in place rather than building the pieces, right? And I've watched you go through that. So, like, talk to me about that. Like, what did you do, and what was that journey like to become that person, and what had to go on mentally? Or are you the exception to the rule and you're like, no, it wasn't a mental game at all?
I just floated on through. I think a lot of failure. Like 2019 was the year of like hitting rock bottom and just scraping by, like scraping through rock bottom for months, but just still doing it. And when some people could just keel over and be like, all right, I'm tapping out, I knew that I would keep working until I figured it out. And so it was investing in myself, and then some of those investments didn't pay off, and then debt, and then launching and failing and launching and failing, and then relationship struggles, obviously. And I have amazing coaches and mentors that I work with and I lean on. And therapy is amazing. We were talking about this before we went live that,
Yeah.
yeah, I have been going to therapy to be like, am I okay? Am I coping okay? What should I be doing right now?
Yeah. I think therapy is interesting, or just coping in general is interesting because you're trying to figure out, because it's like, you're not normal, right? In the first place, you're an entrepreneur and you're a Canadian entrepreneur. So that's even like more not normal, I feel like. Yeah. But like, you know what I mean though? Like so the way that you cope with things already is going to be different, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're not doing things unhealthy. Can we dive into like some specifics? Do you mind?
Yeah.
So like, let's go back to, I don't know the story of 2019. So you got rock bottom. Like walk us through. There's some people that had a really rough 2019, I'm sure, out there, right? There's a lot of people that broke through in 2019 and are killing it. But I think the general consensus is that 2019, in my world, not just in my life, but was a year of transformation, growth, like dealing with crap so that you can get to the next level. Like, what's a moment? Bring us back to a time and you're like, hey, like, this is where I was at. This is the decision that I'm faced with. Yeah. And like one of the things that I'm trying to do here is specifically with the podcast, but and right now as well, is like, I want people to see, we talk a lot about mindset. Like, I want people to know, like, okay, this is the mindset issue that was faced. Here are like tangible things that I did to go and like actually overcome that. Like, yes, investing in yourself, great. Yes, getting through it and not quitting, great. But like, what does that actually look like? And how do you know when you've come out the other side and actually have grown through that?
Yeah. April of 2019, I was in a situation where I had, like I mentioned, had invested so much that I was like running so much Facebook ads. I had a team that I couldn't afford, but we just kept launching. And I was like, this one's going to work. This one's going to work. This one's going to work, to the point where like, I am 6 figures in debt. I am floating and putting my house against it. Like I will lose everything. I will lose my house. I will whatever. Like if I don't turn this around. And I was on a call with Alex Sharfin, and he was like, you are bleeding. This is triage. We have to stop the bleed. You have to let go of a lot of your team.
Wow.
And then work on rebuilding. And so it's
okay, right there. All right, let's talk about this moment here in your life. I feel like this is a pivotal life moment, right?
Yeah.
Like what does that feel like? Like where are you mentally in your head when you get off that call?
I'm so like I'm heartbroken, and I also feel like a failure, and I'm also feeling guilty, and like I'm about to betray people that I love, because this team is my family and they are working hard and they're in the trenches with me. And now I have to tell them, I'm sorry, I can't keep paying you, and you have to go find something else to do. And I'm going to keep suffering through this on my own now.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah.
So then what?
I get on the call with 3 team members. To make it worse, they are all family. It is a husband, wife, and sister. And they mean so much to me. One of them, like, I had said to her all the time, I was like, you are my soulmate in business. Like, I love you. Are like, we are soul sisters. You're like my other half in business. And just, we so bonded. And now we've rebuilt our relationship, thank God. But it was really upsetting. Let me tell you the other part that made it worse. She had a baby 3 days later.
Oh my gosh. Yikes.
So I'm like the worst person in the world. Like,
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Marley.
But I'm supporting this family to the detriment of my own, and I am literally about to lose my shirt. What
mental, like, how do you continue to, like, because like, yeah, it's the classic entrepreneur story. I just didn't give up, right? But like, when you're in that situation, that is not easy, right? Like, I don't know if there was another way out, but like going through and doing what you just did, what did you tell yourself? Like, what's the mental battle here, right? Because the mental battle is, I'm a failure, story you're telling yourself, right? Where it's, I'm not going to make this work, right? It's, I'm letting these people down. I'm going to betray people. How do you How do you change that story, and how do you pull out of that and get to where it is that you need to be?
Oh God, therapy. I
But is that the
I
answer? Is with therapy the answer? Or sorry, I'll let you finish.
not necessarily like because I couldn't afford therapy. it was friends kind of therapy.
Right.
But I put on and mentors and other entrepreneurs that know what this is like. But like I put on blinders and was just like in survival mode. That I felt like I was grieving, but I also didn't have the time or the luxury
Capacity,
to
right.
grieve this. That I was like, blinders on, here we go. I start taking on my own sales calls. So I'm doing like 8 hours a day of sales calls, then 8 hours at night to fulfill on these things that I'm now selling. And I'm exhausted, but then this is also giving me the opportunity to speak to the potential clients myself, hear what they need and what they're wanting from me. And then I created new products, hearing that immediate market feedback. And also I got really good at selling because I had to.
Yeah. It's amazing what it'll do with it when you are in a dire situation where you actually have to do it in order to make it work. So like, what is step one? Okay. So like, you're like, okay, great. I'm going to go. I'm going to get on phone calls, whatever. Like you've cut your team. You're like, okay, I'm in debt. I've got bills to pay. I got to get cash flow revenue or whatever. Like what are the phases of like, okay, where do you put your immediate focus?
Immediately into me selling again. So we already had sales calls that were booked, but just none of them were closing. So now I'm getting on calls and I start closing calls. But also by removing those team members, we had some cushion for profit now. Before we were always in the red. And now I'm like, okay, I can at least eat.
Got it.
So that helped. And then now I gotta build up and get consistency.
Got it. Now, are you back? Because you've gone through a lot since that point. Holy cow. I mean, wow. Do you have a team now at all? Okay.
Yeah, now we're back up to 15 people.
Wow. Guys, round of applause. Like, send her DMs on Instagram at Marley Jaxx and be like, congratulations. That's amazing. But like, so what's your, what are your hires? Like, where are you going back to? Like, who are you hiring first to be able to remove yourself from the process and build that up?
The first one after I had gotten that consistency back was a salesperson. And that one to me was like, it felt like the hardest thing to replace. But then the guy that I found who is still with me, and I feel like he's a gift from God. There was this one night specifically where I am burnt out, exhausted, crying because I just spent 8 hours on calls and I have so much work to do. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm burning out. And I put up this ad for a sales guy. And I'm like, I hope that I can find someone that is already in this world, like knows the online marketing world, maybe knows ClickFunnels, maybe even like took Dan Locke's course or something, like is already a sales closer.
Right.
And then this email comes through like at a moment where I am on my knees crying. And it's this application comes in, and this guy, Ryan, and he has not only gone through Dan Locke's training, he used to work for Dan Locke, and he knows ClickFunnels and all this stuff. We get on a call the next day. We talk for 2 hours. We're just like so in sync, the same kind of values.
Amazing.
I hired him immediately, and and everyone loves him. I love him so much.
Again, this is a common question I get because I deal with a lot of salespeople or people that need salespeople. Do you pay, is it a straight commission or is there a base involved? If I can ask, like, I don't know any numbers, but like.
Yeah. And I think I would do a little bit of both. For Ryan, in his case, he was my first sales guy. And I also have him doing things that aren't just getting on phones and selling. So because of that, because in our team, we have like daily huddles and strategic calls. And I also ask Ryan to be on some of the calls with our students because he's great at some sales training. So because of that, he has a base plus commission.
Okay, base plus commission. So first person you hire, it's cash flow. It is a cash flow related role, and in your case, it's a salesperson.
And getting me out of sales calls because all I can do is be on calls all day.
Yeah.
So that as soon as he was trained, I bought my time back.
Yeah. That's what we're dealing with right now. My next hire is a copywriter.
Nice. That's life changing.
Because I actually don't have to do that many sales calls right now because the sales things that we do are so big and my close rate is insane, but only because I've done, probably 1,000 sales calls in my life. Bless you, by the way.
I muted myself, so
Yeah,
no
one heard it. But no. So I spend so much time copywriting right now every day. I spend at least 3 hours a day, at least, maybe 4. Writing emails, writing headlines, writing social things or whatever. And it's awesome because, I mean, look at the audience, look at the views, look at the downloads. I mean, it's up, it's up, it's up. But I'm finally to the point now where I'm like, time. Yeah. All right. Like I know what to do now. I know the framework. So now it's like, now we got to get someone in here because buying my time back, amplifying yourself. I think that's super, super cool.
Absolutely.
What's where are you headed? Like, what drives you? Because like you've got a lot going on right now, and you've been through a lot recently in the last year. And I think there's 2 types of people. Well, there's lots of types of people, but there's the type of person that's like, just, you know what, didn't work out for me. I'm gonna go be my happy life, and I'm gonna, get out of debt, sell off anything or whatever, chill, and I'm going to go be happy in my Canadian house up there with my free healthcare, smoking some weed and watching Netflix, right? And then there's you, who is like, I'm a freaking lion, let's go, right? Like, I'm going to go do this. Because you're not terribly religious, right?
I would consider myself spiritual, but not religious.
Spiritual, but not religious. In like 30 seconds or less, like what's the difference to you?
Believing in a higher power, but maybe not specifically having like a name or structure or rules to it. That like I very much connect with myself and energy and source and intuition, but maybe just not, and that we are all connected in some way, but not believing in a God, but not and prayer and things, but just not. I don't know if I would define that as like Christianity or Catholic, or like I just don't have a label for it.
Maybe not a face and a name and a personal relationship as much as like a religious structure would have, but certainly something up there. Okay. So like what drives you ultimately then, and where like how is that, like how do you find that, like what's pushing you there? Because like I'm a Christian, right? Like I believe in a God and that obviously drives a lot of my life. So is it that spirituality, or is there something else that's there?
Yeah, like I want to be my best self, and I've always said that like my job as a leader is to create more leaders, because if I want to make a difference, like I'm just trying to get my little piece right. Like, can I change the world? That's massive. But if I can just like get my little piece and know that I can help change someone, that then they can change someone, and they can change like their family, their community, their business, the world, that's my little piece that I want to get. Yeah. And also in the last several months, I have felt very just protective of my happiness because of situations. And now that I am stepping into my new life as a single woman, which I don't know how to define that just yet.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, it feels like a slingshot of like, all right, release, like go after it. And there's nothing holding me back anymore. So I work hard, I play hard, I try to find the balance in between. And I'm just going for it.
When you say the best version of yourself, how do you define that?
Always evolving. I heard this from Stephen Larson, that he was saying something about how like me 3 years ago would not be qualified to be me today. And I don't want to be the same person I am today 3 years from now, or even 3 months from now, or even 3 weeks from now. So I want to always be evolving into who do I need to be to do what I need to do to have what I want to have. So if I have this like grand vision of speaking from stages, or having books, or, being in the mainstream and people like being able to impact these people, who do I need to be on an identity level to be able to create that in my life? So I'm always trying to evolve to be able to match and grow to my potential, or where I'm supposed to be to be able to reach the people who need me.
For that to happen, meaning knowing like where you're going and constantly evolving. So like one of the things I'm trying to figure out right now in my own life, but it just kind of in general, more so to like teach it, is I'm working with Katie, and we talk about the stories that we tell ourselves and how the potential is already within inside us, but we do need to learn how to access it. We need to learn how to use it. We need to learn how to become that version of us. For me, and what I do right now, and what we work through a lot, is journaling and a lot of visualization of like, get really clear on the person that you need to be in that ever evolving process. And for me, I have found that journaling and like writing things out, I have whiteboards everywhere, right? Like, you know how much I love my whiteboards, like that, getting out of my own head and actually visualizing and seeing that on a very consistent basis is something that I do a lot. However, it's interesting to me to talk to different people because some people need that and like other people like just don't. And so I'm curious, are you the type of, like, are you actually writing these things down? Are you getting super, super clear on it? Or how are you figuring out, okay, like that's the next person I'm going to become? Like those are the steps that I'm working towards. Is that a written down visual thing, or how do you determine that?
I don't know if I know that's the person I want to become. Like I definitely have ideas and goals, and then it's figuring out who do I need to be to get there, but also where am I right now? Like before we started recording this, I was saying how I was on a call and they're like, how are you? And I was like really confused. Like I'm still figuring things out.
Yeah.
Going through a big transition. But yeah, like I have those kind of personal exercises too of journaling and visualization and just time with me. I have a little diary that I write even just like what happened that day. So, and then, which is interesting because especially through my marriage ending, I was in this fog of grief. And it's interesting when I look back on that now, I don't remember those things, but the day-to-day things I wrote down, this is a conversation that happened, or this person came over, or this thing, whatever conspired. And I look at that and go, oh, I forgot that happened. And I process it now.
That's actually super interesting. I like that a lot, actually, the processing it later, because a lot of times you can't process it in the moment. You know what I mean?
And that's why and I know that I have brain fog, that my brain is protecting me from a level of trauma, and then I will deal with it, whether it comes up in an unhealthy way, or I can step by step go through it as I review these journals or go to therapy or whatever else that someone can do to process.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people they downplay what we're talking about right now, like that it's not like. At least I'll speak from my own experience, right? I was like, man, you don't need a journal. You don't need a like personal, it was like, oh yeah, mindset is great, but mindset is not actually taking the time to like go and like talk about or write down my feelings or process things or whatever. It's like, if I'm just a hard entrepreneur, right? Like if I just like push it all down, like it, like the fuel to the fire. But I've found that the more I do that, the more those stories come back to haunt me. And if I just identify them, at least I know that that's the story that's controlling myself, and I can actually go back and reprogram the story. I have a spreadsheet, and it's funny because I believe that our life is controlled by the stories that we tell ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty proven on so many levels. So what I'll do is I will identify if I'm struggling with something. There's 3 columns in the spreadsheet. The middle one is the thing that I'm like struggling with. I'm struggling with X, whatever it is, to believe that I'm good enough, or that I need validation, or that, that I think that I can't hire a copywriter, like whatever that thing is. And then I try to literally go back and I try to pinpoint the story, or one of the stories, or whatever, that is there. That is like, that is the story I'm telling myself that is getting me this result here. So then I have the before story, and then I go and I identify a new story that I need to be telling myself, and I write it on the other side of it. So I can literally go back to, and I have this whole list of like, oh, I was struggling with this. This was the original story. This is the story that I need to be telling myself now. So I can constantly go back to that. So I'm rewiring my brain. And I have found that has helped me tremendously to be able to level up and kind of revolutionize the way that I think and view a situation.
Yeah. I recently started working with a coach. Actually, she approached me at Funnel Hacking Live and offered me this free intensive, which normally I don't know if I would always accept, just depending on, if it's
right.
A stranger or someone, but we totally connected. And I thought her offer was so generous, and it's working through, it's kind of like, it's NLP coaching.
Oh, wow.
And I had one call with her, and we really helped identify some beliefs I had around relationships that were there before I got married and that are here now, like the same beliefs. And so it definitely identified or contributed to the marriage I created. And now coming right back into, oh, now I'm still in the same spot as before. And it has to do with my beliefs about partnership and what is possible for love. And I have some beliefs that aren't serving me around thinking that a certain relationship isn't possible for me.
Yeah, I feel that a lot, for sure. Especially at the phase that I'm at in my life right now. I literally just said that to my coach. She's like, what are some of the fears that you have? And I was like, I'm super scared of commitment. And it's not just in relationships. Like, I'm not saying just like in a romantic relationship. I'm like in general. I'm like, because if I commit to something and what happens if it breaks, right? Like what happens if in a month or 2 months or a year or something like that, all of a sudden it gets ripped out from underneath me, right? Because I'm like, or in partnerships, like I've had several partnerships in business that have not worked out, right? Or that I've been stabbed in the back, or you know what I mean? And so like this commitment aspect and this trust aspect of literally trusting somebody else with something that's important to you, right? Whatever it is, from a sales call to fulfillment for a client to a romantic relationship to a friendship, like this open vulnerability of like, yes, I am trusting you with that. That's scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How long were you married for?
3 years and together for 6.
And you're how old now?
29.
29. So you got married at 23. Or you got in a relationship at 23. 24? 23, 24-ish.
Married at 24 or 25. But yeah, we met in 2013, so I was 23.
23.
Yeah.
So that's a long time to be with someone and then just right all done. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Moving forward in business from an actual tactical perspective, now that you are where you're at with Funnel Hacking Live, you've done Funnel Hacking Live and you're where you're at in your business now. What are the next steps for you, or like where are you venturing off into? Are you more digital product education? Are you trying to build a big agency? Like what's the vision there?
Yeah, we have services and done with you kind of programs. So scaling those. I want to do live events, maybe like intensive weekends where they spend a weekend and they get a ton of content to go home with.
Like maybe in the mountains of Canada?
Perhaps in the mountains of Canada.
Real quick, before we go any further on this, guys, how many of you listening right now or on the live stream, but listening right now would like be super down to come to like a 3 or 4 day retreat weekend in Canada with Marley and I? Like if we did something like that, shoot me a DM. Because most people that listen actually listen on audio. So like if you're down or you're interested, I'd be curious to know. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at Forti. Make sure to follow me on there too. That'd be lit. But no, I'd be curious to know because and Marley too, of course. Marley, I follow her well before me. Marley Jaxx, double X at the end. But I think that'd be super, super cool. So sorry to interrupt you there, but I'd genuinely be curious because I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah, mastermind the mountains.
Yeah, that'd be super awesome. But okay, so what's next? You want to do live events? Sorry, cut you off there.
Yeah, I want to do live events. And yeah, just scale our we're going to do a brand new like intensive 90-day program where they'll have an entire content machine built out at the end of 90 days. So instead of paying us to do the service that clients pay us anywhere from thousands to tens of thousands of dollars a month to do for them, they have it in their business with us that we help them create in 90 days.
Oh, like the actual system itself.
Yep. Like we'll help them build the team around them or train their team.
I feel like that's becoming sexy. Like I feel like that's selling well, right? We just wrapped up a launch with Cashflow Tactics, Brad, Gibb, Brian Lee, shout out them. And by the way, guys, they have a podcast coming out March 3rd, which I'm super stoked for. Yeah, finally, after like a year and a half of dragging their feet.
Listen to them. They are so smart.
Brad didn't believe that anybody wanted to listen to them. He legitimately didn't. He literally thought no one was going to listen to his 2-hour episode. It was so funny. Anyway, but we just wrapped up a launch there, and the first thing they did, they came back to me and they're like, so now what do we do? Like, what are the systems? What are the processes? Like, how do we make this evergreen and like, how do we do it? And I'm like, oh, you do this. And they're like, can we just hire you to come in and build it for us and then break it and then rebuild it? And I was like, huh. Next call that I get on, like maybe a week later, I'm on the call. I mean, these are not cheap packages to do Facebook group launches, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, for me to come in and sit down and, build this thing out. And they're like, yeah, the number one thing that we're worried about though is the systems to come in and do that. I feel like that's becoming super, super sexy. What trends or like new opportunities are you seeing you're in the ClickFunnels world a lot, but ClickFunnels videography world, what are some new opportunities you're seeing there?
Well, what I want to create for people is like, maybe instead of hiring a service and having to outsource it all the time, is let's get it in-house and the systems around you so that you can be hands-free and you can focus on the leadership that you need to provide for your team, for your family, for your audience, having it built around you.
Do you still work with Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. I know he's big on, he hires agencies rather than a lot of in-house people. What do you think of that model? And I'm not saying there's one right way or the other, but like his thought process. So for those of you guys that don't know, it's Steve Larson who we're talking about here. Many of you guys probably know. We've had him on the show a couple times. But like he's got a big team. I mean, a year ago he was spending $25,000 a month on his content team, he said. So like I can't imagine what it's at now. But his thought process is, rather than hire people that could turn over, I'm going to hire experts just to come in and build the systems or whatever, and then I'm going to keep them on, and then I can just swap out agencies that already have the systems in place. Do you like that model, or like what are your thoughts on hiring in-house versus hiring an agency?
I guess it could go either way. I personally have sometimes, I mean, I can appreciate agencies, but then I also like the idea of having it in-house, that they're like fully 100% on me and I'm not competing with other clients, or if there's turnover in their systems or their people or their processes. Like I was with one agency that like I was always getting a new ads manager, and I was like, I don't feel like you have my back because I don't know who has my back.
Yeah.
So that was just my concern with outsourcing versus having in-house, that in-house is really, they're my people.
Yeah. I understand the logic behind it of what he's saying, but at the same time, I feel like at a certain point, it's got to become cheaper to bring it in-house even, you know?
I think that too.
And I get, like, knowing Steve and where he's coming from. He's like, I don't want to think about it, man. Like, get the system. I'm going to pay the people that are smart. And then if something breaks or something happens, like, they're responsible to fix it. I get that. But Steve, I'm going to push back a little bit here. I don't know. Like, for me, I'm like, like I said, we're hiring a copywriter right now. And by the way, I think the only time it makes logistical sense in my head, and I could be way wrong on this, guys. I don't, what am I? Who do I know? Like, what? I'm just a 26-year-old, right? But I feel like, it makes more logistical sense when it's cheaper, right? Like if it's cheaper to outsource it, cheaper to have an agency come in and do it. We have a content team that we just hired. I mean, you might actually be interested in this for some of your clients. They will come in, and these episodes right here, starting in March, we're in the setup process right now, and they will chop up all the content every day, 5 days a week with a 24-hour turnaround time. So if I upload it by 5 o'clock tonight, they will have it to me by 8 a.m. the next morning. All right.
Wow.
9 pieces of content. So it's 3. They'll take the video and they'll take the one video and give it to me in an IGTV format. They'll give it to me in a Square format, and they'll give it to me in a YouTube format. So there's 3 pieces of content. Then they'll do thumbnails for each one of them. 1, 2, 3. And then they'll do quotes out of each one of them. So 9 pieces of content every day. And it's like $750 a month for 5 days a week with a 24-hour turnaround time. Like, how do you beat that? That's insane. Right. So anyway, a little side note there. Okay. Any other topics we want to cover? I feel like we could go so many different directions here in the last couple minutes before we get to rapid fire questions. But is there anything you want to talk about?
I love rapid fire.
Ooh, so we just do 8 minutes of rapid fire question?
Sure.
Let's do
let's do it.
8 minutes of rapid fire questions. Oh, okay. This will be fun. Who's Marley's celebrity crush?
Zac Efron.
Ooh, I used to have a Zac Efron cardboard cutout. Maybe that's what I'll send you.
Ooh, I would accept.
Like full life size.
Is it the Baywatch? Like, is he shirtless?
Yeah, oh. he's shirtless with abs. And his
you know who I also really like, and I don't know if it's that I like his Zac Efron and him, they're very different, but I really like Adam Driver. I think I more like him for his brain. Yeah,
I was gonna say that he's not quite Zac Efron body.
He's not that good looking. He's interesting looking, but it's his intelligence and his presence, very, very fascinating.
You like that? You attracted to smarts?
Yes.
More so than looks?
No, there needs to be an attraction.
There needs to be an attraction. But but if you're like literal Zac Efron body, that's like okay, smart, or like decently good looking dude, got, I don't know what you're into, good jawline or whatever, right? Like good body, but like super, super smart.
Yeah, because I don't care how good looking you are. If you're like a doorknob, this isn't going to go. I need the intelligence, the conversations, the depth, or else this is just a superficial relationship.
All right. Just a superficial relationship. Movie night in or out? Like theaters or couch?
Couch.
Couch. Got under blankets, popcorn. You a popcorn fan?
No.
No? I don't like popcorn
I
either.
will when it's around, but like I never buy it for myself.
I only eat caramel popcorn.
Oh, I like cheese popcorn.
Okay, you like cheese. So regular
Yes.
popcorn, but you like cheese popcorn.
Yeah, caramel popcorn's good too.
Caramel popcorn is good too. Favorite thing about Canada? And I swear if you say healthcare, I will just lose it.
Well, my family's here.
That's their number one thing that you like about Canada?
That's it.
This is why America is so awesome, because there's more than just our family. Someday I'm going to like say something to a Canadian like that, and I'm just going to get slapped across the face so hard. Actually, no, I won't, because they're from Canada.
They'll be like, sorry.
Oh, man. Dream house location. Like if you could have a dream house, are we talking mountains? Are we doing beach? Are we doing beach? And
Beach and like big outdoor balcony with all the comfortable patio furniture and lamps and little fireplaces. Like an outdoor patio balcony is so important to me.
outdoor
And a fountain.
and a fountain.
Uh-huh.
Are you a car person?
No.
No?
One time you asked me, you're like, what's your dream car? And I was like, I don't know. And you're like, Marley. And then you kept sending me Pinterest pictures.
I did. I could probably go back and find those. You need to have a dream car. Actually, you're a girl, so it's totally okay for you not to have a dream car. But if you're a dude and you don't have a dream car, I did not know. Okay, pause moment real quick. Let's jump back to Funnel Hacking Live and our favorite people in the world, Mr. Todd Dickerson over there and Russell Brunson.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know Todd Dickerson drives a Ferrari. What up? Like, do you even know? Oh, you saw it on the screen. I was gonna say,
Yeah,
before he said that, did you know what a Ferrari looked like?
Yeah.
You had a rough idea.
Rough idea.
So would you drive a Ferrari?
No.
No. Would you ride in a Ferrari?
Yes.
You'd ride in a Ferrari, but you wouldn't want to drive one.
No, I feel like my dream car is like an Audi, like something just simple. Because I mean, simple, but maybe more expensive.
Simple, luxurious. I feel like you'd like a Range Rover though, or is that too big?
Oh yeah.
You like,
I would like that.
Yeah, a Range. Leah wants a Range Rover. She
Yeah,
told.
it's good. No.
Leah told me that I could. Okay, quick story here. You want a quick funny story about Leah? Leah's thing, like we all have our thing, right? Leah's thing is gold jewelry. It has to be legit. It has to be 100% real, or her skin will eat it up. But the ring that she wants is way, way, way expensive. Like way expensive. And so she said that if you don't want to buy me my dream ring up front, I will accept a Range Rover and a cheaper ring as a temporary placeholder. And then for like anniversary present down the road, you can get me my dream ring.
Question.
Good idea, bad idea. Okay, yes.
Could it be different? I'm not saying cubic zirconium, but like, what if it was like a moissanite stone instead of diamonds? Because you can still have a gold ring, which won't irritate her skin, but you could have a different kind of stone which makes it way cheaper.
Yeah, no.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, it's got to be the real thing. It's got to be like, here's the thing. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm happy with a $5 ring. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Don't care at all. And I think for the most part, it's completely stupid to spend a ridiculous amount. Like, why would you spend as much as like $30, $40, $50, $60,000 on a ring? Like, seems ridiculous to me. However, that being said, if it's your thing, then I'm like, okay, I get it, right? Because if I want to go drop $250,000 on a Lambo, like, that's my thing. It doesn't make any logistical sense, right? So get her the real thing, that's fine. But my thing is like, is a placeholder ring cool? As long as I get her the Range Rover too? Like, yeah. That's cool. Like, I have permission to do that.
I would give you permission to do that, but really it's up to her.
I mean, I know it's up to her, but like at the same time, like I got to run it by someone that knows it. I mean, I got to run it by another girl at least. Of course, on a podcast that's going to be streamed out to thousands of people. So we got to talk about these things. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
We'll get some DMs.
We'll get some DMs. Okay. If you were to summarize, and we won't go down this road, I'm very, very curious from a Canadian perspective, okay? If you were to summarize Donald Trump in one word, from an outsider's perspective, what would it be?
Boisterous.
Boisterous. I like that. Yeah. I've heard many different things. I've heard annoying a lot. but boisterous. I like that. All right, we won't go any further down that rabbit hole. Let's see. We got two more minutes for rapid fire questions. I like this. If you could ever go to outer space, would you go to outer space? You would go to outer space.
I'm
Huh?
fascinated by space.
I am as well. But I don't know why you're fascinated or why most people are, but I'm fascinated from the perspective that it brings too, and the fact that it's like so massive. If you could relocate to Mars, would you go to Mars?
Can I come back?
No.
No.
So what if you're like 65 years old? Or 70? No?
No. I feel like I have more to live for here.
You got more to live for here? Okay.
Yeah.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Cheese Whiz.
Cheese Whiz? Really? That's so bad for you. I mean, I'm one to talk.
Like it's one molecule off from a tire. I don't know.
Yeah, that's super. Ugh.
And like every time I eat it, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Why am I eating? And like the next day, I'm like, oh, I gotta stop eating Cheese Whiz.
But you still have it. Do you keep it in the house or just like every now and then?
I'm not gonna buy it anymore. But
so you do keep it in the house.
I have some.
You have some right now. All right. Let's do last question here, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's think of a good one. By the way, guys, for anybody listening right now, give me some rapid fire question ideas for future episodes. DM or comments down below. I think that would be super, super good.
I have a question for you.
Huh? Oh.
Would you rather
okay.
have no eyesight or no hands?
Wow. Probably no hands.
Because you can outsource hands.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I feel like you technically could outsource seeing. Like you could hire someone to like be next to you all the time and tell you what things are. I don't know. Here's the thing. I watched an interview with Robert Downey Jr. on Joe Rogan, and like the opening thing that they talked about is how Robert Downey Jr.'s eyesight's going out, and that he's like totally cool with it. He's like, yeah, whatever. Like it's fine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he's like, he asked the question. He goes, "What is it about having losing a constant in your life that makes you uncomfortable?" And Joe Rogan's like, I want to see things, right? Like, and I feel like that's, kind of my whole thing is I want to be able to see things. But that being said, if I were to lose my eyesight, I think I'd be all right.
I mean, you figured it out, but
like, do you talk to yourself in your head all the time?
Oh, always.
Like, cause like, I feel it's so funny to me. Ever since I started studying mindset, like the further and further I go down the rabbit hole, the less and less, like every time I get on Facebook, I'm just disgusted by the shallowness of it all, right? I'm like, this is such a waste of my time. Why am I here? But like, I lay in bed at night and I'm like, it's so funny because every time I lay down, I'm like, great, I've got 30 minutes before I fall asleep roughly, right? Because I know like I'll roughly lay here for that long, depending upon how tired I am, that I get to like just play in my mind. And it's like this playground. It's like this jungle gym of like ideas where I just go and I like just build different things. It's like super interesting. I've really never met anybody that like that's like that. But it's like I can like form these ideas in my mind of like where I'm going. And okay, we do have to run here. I want to be respectful of your time. But random side note for those people that are listening still. This morning I woke up out of a very deep, intense dream. I thought this was super interesting. Last night, I was building different frameworks and structures in my head about freelancers versus entrepreneurs, right? And I was like, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm telling myself that. Like, I'm an operator. I build teams. I place things together, whatever. And so I'm like building this. And I woke up this morning out of a very deep, and I like sat up. I was like, and like as I was doing it, I was like verbally out loud. I was like, I'm an entrepreneur, not a freelancer. Right? Like it was this weird thing. And I like shot up and I said that out loud. I was like, wow, that is so weird. And I like went to bed literally building the frameworks to make that. So anyway, random side note, I play around a lot in my head. So if going back to your question, if I lost my eyesight, I'd probably be all right because I play in here a lot, but I definitely probably get my hands first. What about you?
Yeah, I can outsource hands. So
you'd be good with not any hands.
More
so than eyesight.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last question I have for you. For real this time, what's the number one piece of advice you got for our audience?
I shared this at Funnel Hacking Live. It's one of my favorite quotes. Commitment doesn't care how you feel. So when you feel tired or feel scared or feel like an imposter, commitment doesn't care how you feel. And I know we just talked about being afraid of commitment, and there is still a level of that for me too. But when you're committed to your goal, when you're committed to the result or committed to yourself, And like you wake up in the morning and you don't want to get out of bed because it feels good, but you've committed to working out and taking action. Commitment doesn't care how you feel. You get up and do it anyway. Commitment means getting up and playing even when you're hurt. It means not taking your successes or your failures personally. It means you do it anyway.
I love that. Commit. When you commit to stuff, is amazing how your life will change. Marley Jaxx, the first interview as Marley Jaxx that is aired. Thank you so much for your time. This was so much fun.
Exclusive.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
Instagram, Marley Jaxx, YouTube, Marley Jaxx, Facebook, Marley Jaxx. I try to be a stand-up comedian on my Instagram stories. So if that is,
I can vouch for that.
You can, whether it's funny or whether I fail, it's probably entertaining or some interesting. So yeah.
I vouch for that. She's like, guys, you guys know, like, you know how much I love America. I have an American flag literally hanging in my background right now, but Marley's my favorite Canadian, and she's very, very entertaining. Go follow her on Instagram and all the places. We'll link them down below. You have a challenge too, don't you?
Yeah, my 21-day Infinite Video Impact Challenge. It's amazing. It's life-changing. I might be a little bit biased, but like people in there, they love this challenge.
Yeah, your testimonials are insane.
Yeah. Oh, they're raving about it. So infiniteimpactchallenge.com.
InfiniteImpactChallenge.com. We'll link that below, guys. Check it out. Marley, thank you so much for coming on Think Different Theory for season 2. I appreciate you. All right, guys. As always, hustle, hustle. God bless. Do not be afraid to think different, because those of us that think different are going to be the ones that change the world. I love you all. And I will see you Monday. Allison Prince. For the first time. Allison Prince will be on the show. And then Nick Robbins on Wednesday. Literally the episode I'm probably most looking forward to, from a God and religious standpoint, because we're talking God, we're talking religion, we're talking source, all the wonderful things. Don't miss it. Monday, Allison Prince. Wednesday, Nick Robbins. I will see you guys then. I love you all, and I will see you on the next episode. Take it easy, fam. Peace.